I was actually one of those founders or entrepreneurs who stepped into every pitfall. I thought that I was smart and had a brilliant team. Give us a market, and we'll figure out the product and work backwards from there. So instead of analyzing a painful enough problem and talking to people enough until I had a solution, I rejected advice many times and I failed. And luckily, had just enough runway and grant money, to be frank, to actually take that advice when it was very clearly not working alone, pivot, and then make something successful. And so I guess it allowed me, or as they say, when a student is ready, a teacher arrives, to be humbled so I would listen to something, not just hear what people were saying. And I think it's interesting that in the book that you're working on, you're talking about trying to resonate and really get into or the differentiation between the conscious and the subconscious. And one of my questions coming in here was, how can you get people like me to listen without being humbled? And I think I've heard one part of that response for you, which is speaking their language, right? So speak in terms of vision, speak in terms of customer, speak in terms of how they naturally think. Maybe that's one. And I'm wondering, yeah, what more, I don't know, what more techniques you use or what more observations you have about the entrepreneurs that you mentor in that regard.
I can tell you that about 90% of people I'm working with, they reject in the beginning. In the beginning, they reject any help. They think they understand everything. Then I give them some questionnaire, and they understand that no, they don't know everything. But let's see how our brain works. Yeah? So it's like a cup. Yeah? Oh, maybe it's different. Yeah, like a cup. You see. So, see, if simplify, I'm not very good artist, so it's divided on three areas. Here is your conscience, very small area. And why you use your conscience? Your idea do not come from your conscience. It comes from unconscious. Conscience just you use it to take attention, to pay attention on something important, and then you leave to decide to your unconscious. So many decisions, 100% of decisions you are doing from your unconscious, and 100 wrong decisions you are doing from your conscience. Interesting, right? Something unusual. And here you have very interesting place, something between conscious and unconscious. This is what talk to conscious. You don't have any access to unconscious. This place talk to unconscious. You cannot get access there. You don't know what happens. And if you don't know what happens, you have a huge anxiety. That's why you have emotions. And emotions are growing if you don't know what happens, because you cannot access to this unconscious. It's like black box for everybody. Who can get there? Who ask you questions. So if I come from the side, I come from here. I ask you questions, and your this place decide where to take you to the conscious or take you to unconscious. It's like a line that keep your conscience, keep out of the noise. And noise, it's your interpretation of noise. It could be very important advice, but for your unconscious interpret this like a noise. You don't want to do it. It's very important to learn how to identify on this level all these things through some emotions. People start from identifying these emotions. So if you come to mentor like me, I start to ask meaningful questions that take me here and here as well, and let me to get into all levels of your brain, identify what happens, build the trust. You let me in, and you understand about yourself amazing things, and some people don't like it because they're afraid. They're afraid to understand themselves. People, by the way, do not afraid to die. They're afraid to understand themselves after they die. So most of the things, most of the time, people afraid to understand themselves, and this is what, because they all have bias, and this is what mentor is doing. Our mentor health penetrate into your brain and train your brain for success.